Hi, welcome back to our series on editing a sermon for radio. So far, we've made a good raw recording and we've done the editing. Now, in this video, we'll learn some secrets to turning it into a radio series. Remember back in video 1, we said that sermon programs need to be limited to 20 minutes maximum. So the first thing we need to do is to cut our recorded sermon or sermons into segments of roughly equal duration. Each segment will make up one program. Many editing systems will have a function that allows you to highlight a section and save that as a new audio file. Try and make a cut where the sermon comes to a mini conclusion or where there is a logical break. Give each segment a sequential number and give it a name that sums up the content. Here's a hint. Leave a little bit of overlap so that each sermon segment begins with the last 20 or 30 seconds from the previous segment. This simply reminds the listener where we got up to yesterday. Next, our job is to tie all of these segments together to make up a series. There are 3 tools that will help us to do this: the program host, theme music, and sound bites. Firstly, the program host. This is a person other than the pastor. Their parts are scripted and then recorded in a studio or quiet room. At the beginning, the program host welcomes the listeners and introduces the program. They introduce today's content. They may briefly recap yesterday's content and then hand over to the preacher. Like this.
Welcome to Towards Eternity, featuring the teaching of Pastor John Smith from River Valley Bible Church. We're continuing our series on challenges to faith in the 21st century. In our last program, we looked at how today's media is often having a greater impact on our belief system than the Bible. Today, Pastor Smith will speak from the book of Daniel, chapter 3, about doing what's right even when no one else is. In our topic, Go Against the Flow.
At the end, the program host talks about the content of tomorrow's program and farewells the listeners. Like this.
Join us next time as Pastor Smith considers today's global economy and how the book of Proverbs holds keys that are still relevant to us now. That's right here, next time on Towards Eternity. Until then, God bless.
So as you can hear, the program host does a very important job. It ties everything together so that it all makes sense and provides continuity between sermon segments. You'll notice he didn't say the name of the radio station. If there's a possibility that the program will air on more stations later, leave the station name off. Our second tool is theme music. Yeah, this also is very important. Use the same music every time because it tells the listener that their favorite program is starting. Always use instrumental music for this and make sure you have the rights to use it. Production music is perfect. And use the same piece of music at the beginning and the end. At the beginning, start the music, bring it down, hold, and then fade out. Like this.
Welcome to Towards Eternity, featuring the teaching of Pastor John Smith from River Valley Bible Church. We're continuing our series on challenges to faith in the 21st century. In our last program, we looked at how today's media is often having a greater impact on our belief system than the Bible. Today, Pastor Smith will speak from the book of Daniel, chapter 3, about doing what's right even when no one else is. In our topic, Go Against the Flow.
I was reading recently, and this particular subject has been on my mind.
At the end, fade the music up gently underneath the preacher's last words. Hold, then back to full volume at the end. try and end on the natural finish on the music. Like this.
God doesn't always bring miraculous deliverances for his people. Most of the time he doesn't. Because that's not his plan. Some of his people, many of his people, die for their faith. But God will always be there to give the grace to his people in their time of great need.
Join us next time as Pastor Smith considers today's global economy and how the book of Proverbs holds keys that are still relevant to us now. That's right here next time on Towards Eternity. Until then, God bless.
And the third tool we can use to connect a sermon series is sound bites. Not everyone uses these, but they're a useful tool if you need them. Some Bible teaching programs start with a teaser, that is, a very short highlight cut from today's sermon. You can use a provocative statement or a question, something to get the listener's attention and to make them want to stay listening. Something like this.
They say, we believe our God will deliver us. And then they say, but if not, well, wait a minute. We're sure he's going to deliver us, but he might not?
Welcome to Towards Eternity, featuring the teaching of Pastor John Smith from River Valley Bible Church.
And then at the end, you could use a clip from tomorrow's program, like this.
In their time of great need.
Join us next time as Pastor Smith considers today's global economy and how the book of Proverbs holds keys that are still relevant to us now.
And you know, today the world, and tragically even many within the professing church, make moral choices as gray and as ambiguous as possible. If we're to do the right thing in the different situations we face, then we must know the Word of God, because the Word of God is black and white and it cuts through all of the ambiguity.
That's right here next time on Towards Eternity. Until then, God bless.
We've already said that all of your programs need to be the same duration. So if today's sermon segment is slightly different length from the other days, here are some ideas to help you get it to the right duration. Adjust how much music you use at the beginning and the end. Change the program host script so they speak more or less as you need. Include, exclude, lengthen or shorten sound bites as needed. And you remember how we suggested including the last 20 seconds of yesterday's sermon in today's program? Well, you can increase, decrease, include or exclude as you need to there as well. Now, once you have everything in place and to the correct duration, mix down your program into an MP3 audio file. I suggest a minimum bitrate of 192. Save it with its full name and make sure you add program information into the metadata. For podcasts, this information will be displayed in the listener's audio player. If the program is played on the internet radio station, the information may be streamed with the program audio. Okay, that's a lot to think about. But join us for our next video. We'll consider a few creative ideas for creating a radio program from a sermon. Happy broadcasting.